Welcome back to the channel Home of Programming. In today's session, we are going to create a new series of developing web applications with PHP. This series will be very interesting as you can learn how to develop a dynamic web application on your own, and you can host that web application also, right? So let's see the entry profile of this course, right? So to learn this course even more effective, you need to know the basic terminologies that are used in web development, basic tags of HTML, how to style a HTML element, and how to add client-side interactivity in your web page, right? All these things we have discussed in our HTML web series, right? So if you want to have a look at it, I am sharing that link of our HTML web series in the description box. You can check it out, right? Let's see the exit profile of this course, that is what will be the outcome of this course, right? So you can develop a dynamic web application that gets run on a web server, right? So also you will learn about domain and hosting, right? So at the end of this session we will learn about hosting, right? Let's get into our first chapter, which is introduction to PHP, right? So what exactly PHP is? PHP is a server-side scripting language, right? So in our HTML series, I have explained what is client-side interactivity and what is client-side scripting, right? So if you are having a form, in that if you want to add validation, you can use JavaScript, right? So what JavaScript will do is, it will look for any specified errors within the form. If some errors are found, it will intimate the user through the browser only. So JavaScript will not contact any of the server and return the result back to your browser. JavaScript relies on your browser and it intimates an error message to the user. So whatever the message that has been received in a program that is developed using JavaScript, those errors are not received from the server. It is just received from the client side itself. So this is called client side scripting, right? Whereas what exactly server side scripting is? So when we submit a form, after clicking on our submit button, the values we have provided will be stored in a third party server and the result will be returned back to our browser, right? So if there is client and server, so when our request is sent to the server and we receive a response for our request from our client side browser is known as server side scripting. So PHP is one of the languages used for performing server-side scripting, right? So you can use PHP for developing dynamic web application. So I hope you are familiar with the term dynamic web application, so which we have discussed in our HTML series, right? So literally we can classify web page into two types, which is static web page and dynamic web page, right? So static web page is one which doesn't interact with its user, right? Whereas dynamic web applications are those web applications which interacts with its users, right? So the PHP files are stored with an extension .php, right? Your HTML file will have an extension as either as .html or .html, right? Similarly, you should save your PHP file with the extension .php, right? So one more thing to include about PHP is, you can code PHP as a separate file, or you can embed PHP inside your HTML tags. So we will learn how to create a PHP code in our upcoming sessions. Just I am letting you to know the brief intro of PHP, right? So as I told you before, PHP script gets executed on the server and it returns the result back to your web browser. So this is a brief intro about PHP, right? So let's see how to install PHP, right? So to install PHP, as it is an open source, it can be downloaded from their official website and it can be installed in two ways, right? One is to set up PHP on your local PC with the help of any of the web servers such as XAMPP or WAMP, right? So with the help of XAMPP or WAMP server, you can install PHP, right? So another one way is you can find a web host such as GoDaddy or Net4India or BigRock, such as there are lot of web hosts available, right? So you need to find a web host that supports PHP and MySQL, right? So let's learn how to install PHP in your local computer, right? So here we will install PHP with the help of XAMPP server, right? So here just you have to Google as XAMPP free download for Windows, right? So when we Google this, the first link will be download XAMPP. Just go to that link and it will show options for downloading XAMPP for 64-bit of Windows as well as for Linux and some Mac OS, right? So just ensure that you have selected the correct option for your operating system. Here I have chosen Windows 64-bit system, right? So our file will get downloaded. So it is asking for a location to save our file, right? So I have chosen the location and click on save. So now our XAMPP file will be downloaded, right? So I hope you are clear with the servers XAMPP and WAMP, right? So XAMPP and WAMP are nothing but the web servers which allow you to develop a PHP based web applications, right? Just wait for few seconds for your download to complete. Once it completes, double click on your file to open the XAMPP server and install it, right? So just wait for few seconds. So it will load the XAMPP setup window, right? In that setup window, you can just click on next options to complete your setup, right? This will be very user friendly steps. So once you click on next, it will redirect you to the official website of XAMPP and you can skip from that and it will start to unpack your files and install XAMPP, right? So just wait for few more seconds for the XAMPP installation to complete, right? So once the setup is complete, you can click on the finish button to complete your setup process, right? So now click on finish button, your setup will be complete, right? Now you can select XAMPP from the start window, right? So alternatively, you can find a web host that supports PHP and MySQL, right? So what web host I suggest is GoDaddy, right? It will be very user friendly, and for the first time you're purchasing a host from GoDaddy, your cost will be cheaper when compared with other web servers, right? So now what we can do is, you can just click on your start button and just type as XAMPP control panel, right? just double click on it or press enter to open your exam control panel window. So this exam control panel window allows you to start your web servers so that you can run your PHP on your local host. So once you have downloaded your exam and installed it, you have to start your server before running your PHP programs, right? So before that, let's see the features of PHP, right? So PHP supports several frameworks such as CodeIgniter, right? So these frameworks will contain large number of built-in functions to create an application more easily, right? So for example, using PHP you can develop an admin panel for every web application projects that you are using, right? So and moreover, it enables the integration of pages, right? For example, while developing a web application, if you are having your header and footer similar for all of the pages, you can create a separate page for header and footer and you can include that in your all pages, right? So instead of copying the header and footer code for all the pages, right? So this is all about your features of PHP. Let's learn the syntax of your PHP, right? The base structure of your PHP looks like this, right? So an Angular tag followed by question mark PHP, and you should end your PHP code with question mark followed by Angular tag, right? So this is a base structure of PHP. Inside it you can use functions, variables, anything we can use, right? So as PHP is a loosely coupled language, you need not to specify data type while declaring a variable, right? So here, before learning about variables, just I am telling you the steps to run your PHP program, right? So to start your exam server, you have to click your start menu. Inside it, search for exam control panel, double click on it to open your control panel, right? So when the exam control panel is opened, click on the start button of Apache and MySQL, right? So in order to run your PHP program in localhost, you need to start the Apache and MySQL servers, right? So after starting your servers, you can go to your browser and type localhost/exam, right? So now enter. So here, when we start our server and provide localhost exam in our address bar of our browser, it is showing us the index of exam, right? So if I stop this server, I have stopped the servers. Now when I reload this page will not be opened, right? So every time you want to run your PHP program, before running it, you have to start your Apache and MySQL servers, right? So once we start our servers, we have to keep our PHP programs inside htdocs folder of our exam folder, right? So to search that folder, go to C:, inside select exam. Inside exam, you can find a folder called htdocs. So inside htdocs, all your PHP programs should be there, so that you can run that program in our web browser, right? So here I am creating a new folder called PHP series. So I am just renaming it as PHP series. Inside this folder we can have all our PHP programs, right? So in this location I am going to create a new PHP file, right? So as I told you, the structure of PHP starts with the angular bracket followed by question mark PHP and ends with question mark followed by closed angular bracket, right? So inside it we can write anything, right? So first of all, literally we can learn about printing a statement in PHP, right? So to print a statement, echo command can be used. Echo bracket of. So this echo function is used to print a line of statement in PHP, right? So inside it I am writing as welcome to PHP, right? So now I am going to save this program inside our htdocs folder, right? So here go to C colon, inside select exam, inside exam select htdocs folder. So in that we have created PHP series folder, right? So inside it I am going to save this PHP program, right? PHP 1, right? So now I have saved this file. I can go to that location and I can see that our PHP file is created as a web page, right? It is having a Google Chrome icon, that is our browser icon, right? So you can double click on it, double click on your file name, right? So when we double click on it, the source code of our PHP coding will be displayed, right? So this is not a way of running your PHP program. So to run your PHP program, first you need to start your server. After that you should open your browser and provide the URL as localhost exam, right? So when we provide localhost/exam, we can determine whether our server is working or not, right? So if the server is working, we can go to our folder. So in this case our folder name is PHP series, right? Sorry. So if I if the server is working, we can directly run our program by providing our folder name, project folder name. So in this case our folder name is PHP series, right? So when we provide localhost / our folder name, it will display the all files which is inside our folder. So either you can choose our file from this list of files displayed, or you can manually provide the file name itself, right? So we have forgot to close the double quotes, right? Just save your program and rerun it. It is displaying as welcome to PHP, right? So this is a very simple program which allows you to print a statement. So to print a statement in PHP, we can use the command echo, right? So similarly, to make a command line in PHP, you can either use double slash or you can use hash operator, right? So in this way we can comment our PHP programs, right? So we have learned about a printing in PHP, right? Now what we can do is we can create a variable and we can print the value of variable, right? So to create a variable in PHP, dollar symbol is used followed by your variable name, let's say A. So the naming conventions of variable should be followed, right? So a variable name should not be a keyword, and every variable name must starts with an alphabet or underscore, right? No other special characters other than underscore should be used, right? So these are the constraints for creating a variable in every programming languages. So similarly PHP also follows that convention, right? So one thing that PHP differs in the way of creating variable is it doesn't need the data type of a variable to be explicitly mentioned, right? So if it is a C or C++, Java or C# program, in every programming languages we will create a variable by providing its respective data type. So if I am creating a variable in integer type, I have to provide values of only integers, right? If it is a string type, we can give only string values, right? So, but in PHP, we need not explicitly provide a data type. But if you want to determine the data type of a variable, we can call the function variable dump-off, right? So it takes one parameter, which is nothing but the respective variable name. If you want to determine the data type of your variable a, you have to provide this as your parameter for variable dump-off function, right? So now what the function will return is, it will return the data type of your variable along with the specified value. So we can use here break tag to create a next line, right? So now save your program and run it. So here already we have printed the statement welcome to PHP. After that we have called the variable dump-off function, which returns the data type of a variable along with the value specified. If I change the value of a to be 15, so the output will be int of 15, right? So this is a way with which we can determine the data type of a variable in runtime, right? So this is all about creating a variable in PHP, right? So simply you have to use the operator dollar to create a variable, but you should follow the constraints followed by followed for creating a variable, right? So next we can move on to operators, right? So in operators, in every languages, operators used are arithmetic operators, relational operators, increment or decrement operators, assignment operator, and finally logical operator, right? So this is a list of operators which are commonly used in every programming languages. Similarly in PHP also these operators can be used, right? So with this we can conclude this session. We can explore the operators and the string functions in our next session, right? So why I am skipping with this portion is, to learn operators you have to know how to implement decision making statements in your program, right? So after learning decision making and looping statement, we will learn about operators, right? After that we can move on to string functions in PHP, right? So stay tuned with Home of Programming for getting more and more programming videos. Subscribe to our channel to get instant updates about our channel. Thank you.